Hello everyone, Gebatron here. In this video we're going to cover the map in the game Hell Let Loose, how to interpret some information on the map, um, and things of that nature. Um, I'm currently spawned in as the American commander. You can see in the bottom left hand corner of the screen there. How do you get to the map? Well, that one's pretty easy. You just click the M key and that will bring up your map. Now every map is different. Um, And you're going to say, well, no duh, Gebatron, of course every map is different. But what I mean by that is, um, like up here in the top right-hand corner, you can see we have the map name, Utah Beach. That's not always in the top right-hand corner. Sometimes that's in the bottom left-hand corner, like Hurtgen Forest, it's in the bottom left-hand corner. Uh, Things like that. Some maps, the colors are different, like on these buildings here, you know, the trench systems, they're different colors in different maps. So just know that not every map is identical as far as the icons on the map. So we have the map open right now, and you'll see across the top here we have the resources. We have munitions. It tells us how many we're gaining per minute. Manpower, same thing. Fuel, same thing. If you want to learn more about resources, I'll put a link in the description below to a video I made about resources, but we're not going to talk about that here. Now on each map in the bottom right hand corner there's the map key, which will tell you the name of the map. It says key here, and then there's a bunch of icons. If you hover over these icons, you'll get a little blurb that tells you more about it. You can scroll down if you were looking for a specific one, or you can click enter, and that will expand that to open up the key entirely. There's a couple in here that don't have a blurb. Heavy tank and light tank, I think, don't have a blurb right now. I think that's just an oversight. I'm sure they'll fix that eventually. To make this smaller again, to collapse it, it says enter to collapse. Just click your enter key and it will go small again. Now we already covered the map name. Now every map has a compass. Now this is something that's kind of weird and not a lot of people know this. Up here in the top left you'll see the compass. You'll notice that straight up on the map is not north. This compass is tilted a little bit to the right, so it's actually straight up is a little more northwest. Now some maps are oriented straight, some are tilted, some are more tilted than others. I think this is Utah Beach, but Omaha Beach I think up on the map is almost straight west. So why is that important to know? Why is that important to check? Well, if you're saying, north of Sunken Bridge and you want people to go straight up from Sunken Bridge, they might be interpreting in that, according to the compass. So just make sure that everyone is communicating. I'm not entirely sure why the devs made it that way, but my friend, I don't know how to say his name on Reddit, but his Reddit handle is SFSCRIV, and he made some overlays of the Hell Let Loose maps in the country of France, and it kind of does a better job of explaining why maybe the devs made this decision. So check out his work. He worked with Team Dix. You probably have heard of Team Dix. They have a couple servers. They have more than a couple servers, but that's a pretty good community. If you guys are looking for a community to get involved in, get involved with Team Dix. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Colonel Soundboard specifically for giving me permission to link to all those things down in the description. So check that out. All right, now that we've covered the compass and how it can be kind of weird, it's not always in the top left. Sometimes it's in the top right. Like I said, every map is different, but that's pretty important. Not a lot of people know that. So knowing that, you'll be one step ahead of a lot of people right there. Now let's talk about how the map is broken down. You'll notice the top two rows and the bottom two rows here are kind of grayed out, shaded out. You can't operate in those areas. If you go into that area, it'll say return to combat area, and I think it gives you 10 seconds to turn around. But rows 3 through 8 on this map, they're all in play. Maybe the devs will open this up. This game is in early access, so things are probably going to change a lot Um, so maybe these maps will get bigger, but as of right now on Utah Beach, we can only play through rows 3 through 8. Um, each grid square, each individual grid square is 200 meters by 200 meters. Well, why is that important? Well, things like garrisons and anti-tank guns can only be placed outside of 150 meters of each other. You can't have them closer together than 150 meters. So understanding and knowing that these grid squares are all 200 by 200 can give you just at a quick glance give you an idea how far you have to put your anti-tank gun away, or how far you need to go to put another garrison away. And that, knowing that could give you a step ahead of somebody. Now the map is broke down into um, zones, sectors, strong points, things like that. Now, what most of the community refers to as a zone is two columns. So column A and column B here, that's a zone. Like A and B would be considered, see it says German lines here. So A and B would be considered the German base zone. I and J over here says U.S. lines, so I and J would be the U.S. base zone, and then all the other, C and D is a zone, E and F is a zone, G and H are a zone. Now all those zones contain sectors. Sectors are broken down into 4 grid squares. So A3, A4, B3, and B4, that's one sector, and down here A, B, 5, and 6, that's another sector. This sector currently contains a strong point, which is flooded house. Strong points is this little black circle with the lines through it. Each one of these sectors does have a strong point that randomly pops up. This game, these ones pop up, but the next game in this map, maybe the chapel's not what you fight over. Maybe you're fighting over something down here, or Win 5 doesn't pop up, but this anti-aircraft battery up here is what you end up fighting over. Just know that each one of these sectors does have a strong point. They pop up. Okay, let's start talking about some things that aren't really in the key, but can help you navigate the map. You'll notice that, everything has, I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of things on the map have names. Now, of course, the strong points are named here. The chapel is named, so you can say, hey, north of the chapel, but there's also some other things that are named. Like right here we have Le Grand Dune, which is referring to this river here, or stream is more what it is. Like over here, Le Grand Creek, or Crick, however you say that in French. Roads sometimes have names. La Madeleine, that runs here. Here's the river part of it, Just, it's good to know that sometimes, if you want, if you're driving a tank, and you want your driver to go a certain way, sometimes it's good to know things like that. In other maps, sometimes little farmhouses have names, like maybe this would have a name in a different map. Remember, all maps are a little different. We're going to start moving on to some cover items now that aren't in the key. Like over here, you'll see this little airplane. That's a downed aircraft. It's either a glider or a fighter plane, but just know that that's what that means. Trench systems. Some maps they're black, some maps they're red, but down here there's a ton of them. This I don't even know how to describe it, but this little feature right here, this is what trench work systems look like on the map. That's not in the key. Barbed wire. These little hash marks with X's throughout them, that's a barbed wire system. Not the kind that your engineers put down. This is part of the map, and it's important to know stuff like that, because if you're driving a tank or whatever, you can't get into Win 5 down here. This barbed wire will stop you. You're going to have to know, if I want to drive my tank into Win 5, I need to take the road into it. It's the only opening. unless you put on a massive flank. On the defensive, you know, like an engineer, you know, there's no point of putting an anti-tank mine out here, but here's a choke point. You know, that's the only way a tank's going to get into Win 5. That'd be a great place for an anti-tank mine. Buildings. There's a lot of different buildings. Um, there's defensive structure buildings, but like houses and barns and things like that are always these squares and triangles that are shaded red on this map. On some other maps, they're shaded black, but that's how those look. There's pillboxes, fortified positions like this right here, specifically is an observation post. If we close our map and we look at this structure right here, that's what an observation post looks like. Really good place for an MG or a spotter. These are like pillboxes. Pillboxes are smaller than like an observation post, and yeah, good for MGs too, good for cover. Down here we have a command bunker. That's what this is right here. That's a larger structure. Sometimes these are also just like bigger parts of the trench system that are fortified. You know, good places for MGs and just holding down an area. You know. Let's see. Let's move on to some terrain items now. Now every map is going to have roads. Here they're red. I think in Purple Heart Lane they're purple. There's some pink things here. These are kind of roads, more dirt roads. These are more heavily traveled roads, like highways, or I guess you'd say. But like in Purple Heart Lane, there's some rivers that are red that are hard to cross. So like I said, every map's a little different. Now there's little areas like you see right here. There's these little red. Let me zoom in a little bit. These little red dashes like that. There's more down here. That usually indicates some sort of like natural cover. Like sometimes it's taller grass or bushes in that area, something like that. These little um, black half moons with the hashes here, those are usually some sort of terrain feature. It's not always the same. Sometimes it's a little hill, sometimes it's a little depression in the ground. Sometimes if you go up to it, it'll be like impact craters, but they're good for cover. It's some sort of terrain deformity or something like that. We already covered rivers. This thick blue line here is like a stream that runs through the whole map. It's good to travel through and not be seen. Good cover in there. These thinner blue lines, those are like trails, just like foot trails. This map doesn't have any hay bales in it, but hay bales look like there's a little square with a triangle on top of it. A map that's full of hay bales like that is Foy. Foy has a ton of hay bales. Why is it important to know this kind of stuff? Seems pretty boring and it seems pretty straightforward, but if you're a squad leader or commander or even just a regular soldier, it's important to be able to pull up your map and assess where you are on the map and gather as much information about where you are and where you want to go as possible. Oh, here's another little thing. This is a radio tower. Landmarks, you know, so you can communicate with your squads, with your teammate about like, hey, I'm here at, you know, La Grande Dune, and between me and the radio tower there's enemy infantry. You know, you might want to tell your squad leader that. Your squad leader can put an enemy infantry mark up there, and you guys can work from there. It's just really important. If you understand all this information, it's going to give you an advantage over somebody who doesn't, and that's going to lead to more victories and just more fun gameplay altogether. There is kind of a bug. If you want to leave a mark on the map, like let's click our middle mouse button to bring up our mark list. You'll notice this list is full and complete, but if we wanted to mark something here at the bottom of the map, let's click our middle mouse button. It's not complete. The bottom part is cut off, so you'd have to move that move the map by holding down the left mouse button and moving it around. You zoom in and out by using the middle mouse button. Uh, there is a on the official Hell Let Loose Discord, there is a channel where you can report map bugs. So I'll leave a link to the official Hell Let Loose Discord in the description below. But get involved there. Get involved on Reddit. You know, check out Team Dix. Get in contact with Lieutenant Colonel Soundboard. He's a really active member of the community. That Reddit user SFSCRIV, he's got a ton of great information. So go check those links out in the description, guys. If there's anything I left out, or any information that you can add to this video or this discussion or whatever, you know, leave a comment. Let everybody know. Please subscribe to my channel, especially if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it. Like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you didn't like it, you know. Thanks for all the support so far, guys, and thank you very much for watching.